What's good, YouTube fam? It's your girl Pri, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. Now, as you can see from the title, I'm going to be sharing 10 tips on how to get you to and through college debt-free. Yes, I was able to graduate from college owing my institution absolutely $0, and I was also able to accumulate over $100,000 in scholarship funds that went towards my education, and you can do it too. Stick around. Now, before we jump into the clips, guys, I'm going to give you 3 quick disclaimers. Number 1. I did not come from a wealthy family. Funds was kind of tight. Number 2, I'm not a superior athlete. And number 3, I'm not a genius, y'all. So if you fit into any of those 3 categories, then you probably aren't worried about how your college is going to be paid for. But that's okay. You can stick around too. Let's get into it. Tip number 1. Maintain a solid GPA and involvement in high school. I can't stress enough, guys, the importance of starting early. So if you have the opportunity to start in high school, please beef up your college application as much as you can. Please, 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 please. Now, when you think about a college recruiter or someone who's looking at 2 students who for a scholarship, for example, you may have a student who has a 5.0 GPA with the advanced classes and all that extra mess, or say we're going on the regular scale and they have a 4.0 GPA, right? And then you have someone who has a 3.2 GPA. Now the 4.0 GPA student doesn't have any extracurricular activities, but the student over here is also a member of Beta Club, also a member of theater, plays basketball. Now this student is more likely the most all-around student. Being smart isn't always everything, guys. I can't stress that enough. When people are looking for students for their program, they're not just looking for you to be smart. They're looking for people who are personable, people with communication skills, people who are involved, people who volunteer. So again, if you can start early in high school, please make sure that you keep a pretty solid GPA, but also stay involved, because I'm telling you guys, that's going to take you the extra mile when it comes to going to college. Tip number 2. Learn how to complete your FAFSA as early as possible. Now, what's FAFSA? FAFSA is a free application for student aid. Now, what that means is if you're going to college in-state, you're going to be able to qualify for Pell Grants and state grants. They're going to help you and go towards your tuition, room and board, meal plans, all of those kinds of things in order for you to pay for college. Now, when it comes to FAFSA, guys, it does take for you to practice a whole bunch in order to get it. Especially, well, at least it did for me. Now, if you're anything like me, your parents may not be well versed when it comes to computers or just knowing how to complete FAFSA. But when I tell you that there are resources that you can find, okay? For me, I was able to be a part of a really, really great club in high school called Leaders in the Making that was able to provide me with workshops on how to complete my FAFSA. Now, even if you don't have that, you can at least reach out to a mentor that you have in high school and ask them to help you and show you how to complete your FAFSA. When I tell you, the moment you learn how to do it, you'll never forget how to complete your FAFSA. You can also sit down with your parents and you guys can do it together and all those kinds of things. Even if you have to reach out to your local community college and ask someone to help you complete your FAFSA, please do that, because it's so super duper important, okay, guys? Now, I wouldn't recommend you learning how to complete it as a freshman or a senior. I think freshman may be a little bit too early. Senior is way too late for you to learn how to do it. So anywhere between sophomore and junior year, you should be learning how to complete your FAFSA so that when it's time to complete it, you're ready to go and you're ready to get those funds and get them coins for school. Tip number 3. Choose the right college for you. Oh my goodness, this is such an important tip, all right? You don't want to get to a college and realize half of the first semester in that this is not the school for you, okay? So the biggest thing for me and my success in college was definitely making sure that I pre-planned, making sure that I knew where I was going to go, making sure that I knew at least the type of school that I wanted to go to. So when I talk about choosing the right college for you, that's going to come down to class size. So if you learn well in a small setting, you need to make sure that you're going to a college that has small class sizes. A lot of times they're able to tell you what the ratio for student to teacher is or student to professor is when it comes. Make sure that you're looking at location. For me, I went out of state, which created a whole host of other things and other funds that I had to find. But if you go in-state, then more than likely you're not going to pay as much to go to school. So make sure that you kind of weigh that out depending on, how much money you have for college and how much you're going to have to find. Also, you're going to be looking at costs. So when you're choosing your college, make sure you're looking at the cost of the college. And when I say cost, I mean tuition, room and board, books, meal plan, and necessities. All of these things are going to go into play the moment you step foot on a college campus if you're staying on campus. So make sure that you know all of the costs prior to going so that you know what you need, what you have, and what you need to find. Okay, so make sure that you have all of those things in order and you'll be fine. I'm telling you, just make sure you're organized. Tip number 4, choose your major wisely. I chose one major prior to going to college, and I kept that major all 4 years throughout my matriculation and until I graduated. Now, I can't tell you how many people I went to school with who changed their major 1-2 times. Now, I'm not going to say that you're going to know exactly what you're going to do like me and choose a major and stick with it. You might get to a major and realize that you don't like it. But I encourage you guys to sit down before you go to college and say, what am I interested in? What do I want to do? What do I want to be? What skills do I want to have and build while I'm in college? And I can assure you that when you sit down and you really think about that and you choose your major, you will not have to change it. Now, this is easier said than done sometimes, but I can assure you guys, if you take the time to pre-plan and think about what you want to do in life and then choose a major, you'll be fine. Tip number 5. Okay, now you're on campus, right? Now you're out of high school, you've chose your college, you've chosen your major, all those kinds of things, and you're on the campus. You're living on the campus, right? This is the next tip. Tip number 5. Make sure you become acquainted with your academic advisor. This is number 1. Like, go see your academic advisor, have a sit down. A lot of times, a lot of colleges have like orientation, those kinds of things or whatever. But when all that's over with, go and sit down with your academic advisor and go through your itinerary, go through your matriculation, go through each class that you need, each semester, each credit. Make sure that you follow that to a T. A lot of times colleges have handbooks where you can go in and you can look at all those things too. But sit down with your academic advisor, become acquainted with your academic advisor. A lot of times they can give you insight on internal scholarships that are going to help you find more money within your institution. Did you hear me? Your academic advisor, let me tell you again, your academic advisor, more than likely, if you have a good one, is going to give you tips on internal scholarships that you can find within your institution that will help you pay for your education. So make sure that you become real tight with your academic advisor. Make sure that you know all the classes that you have to take each semester. I can't tell you guys enough how many times I ran into people who said, man, I was supposed to take this class as a freshman and now I have to take it my senior year. I have to take this extra class because I didn't take it. I don't know why I didn't take it. Talk to your academic advisor. Tip number 6. Now that you're acquainted with your academic advisor, okay? Now what I want you to do is become acquainted with your financial aid office. Now when you first go to college, I went to an HBCU. When you first get there, you got to go through a long line of financial aid, okay? But when all that's over, please make sure you visit your financial aid office and ask them about the opportunities that are within the institution so that you don't have to take out any loans, okay? A lot of times they have insight as well. Now, when I tell you I visited my financial aid office so much that I went in there and they knew me by name, okay? That's because I went in there and I had questions ready. I was respectful and I asked them, look, what can I do to get more money to fund my education? I don't want to take out a loan, okay? Can you help a sister out, right? And when I tell you, a lot of times they're nice enough to give you some more insight as to what you can do, okay? For me, again, I went out of state. And so the first year when they told me that I couldn't get a Pell Grant, that I couldn't get a grant for the state, I was like devastated. It's like $5,000 that I could not get, right? But when they told me that, they also gave me some insight on some other things that I could do within my institution to get some more funds. And when I tell you guys that helped me a whole heap, please make sure you visit your financial aid office and get well acquainted with them because they can help you as well. All right, now I said all that to lead me into tip number 7. It's super important for you to find internal scholarships. What does that mean? That means that you need to find scholarships within your college or university that are offered to you that will help go towards your education. Now, for me, I was able to participate in theater, right? So look into your theater program. You might just have an opportunity to make some money and to go towards your education while you're doing something that you actually like to do, if you're anything like me. So every semester I was in a play, I was given a scholarship to participate in that play. So make sure that you look for little things like that within the institution, because that helps so much when it comes to extra funds that you need. Also, you can look into being an RA. I was also a resident assistant in my college. So basically, I was in charge of a floor in a freshman dorm, right? So typically you can qualify for that when you become a sophomore. So make sure that you look into opportunities like that as well as looking at internal scholarships for tutoring if you qualify for that and other things. There's so many opportunities that you have within your institution. And again, that goes back to talking to your academic advisor as well as your financial aid office, because a lot of times they can give you insight on those opportunities within your college. Now that you've applied for internal scholarships, step number 8. Apply for a set number of external scholarships. What does that mean? So basically, all that means is you can go on Google and you can type in scholarships, right? And you can find scholarships that are outside of your institution that are also going to help fund your education. And so when I tell you, I applied for 2 scholarships every week, which equaled 8 every month, for me to apply to my education. And so as many as you can do per week. I know college can be hectic. If you can squeeze in 1 per week, that's fantastic. If you're doing 4 per month, that's fantastic. Make sure that you're completing as many external scholarships as you can, because those are going to help fund your education. And you can stop doing them once you get all the money you need. But when I tell you, I had to apply for so many scholarships in order to get the handful that I got. But when I tell you, it's such a great feeling to get those scholarships when you've put in all that hard work. Please apply for external scholarships along with internal scholarships, and I promise you, it will help you fund your education. Tip number 9, get a part-time job. You too good to work a part-time job? I'm not too good to work a part-time job. I'll tell you guys, look, sometimes you gotta get it how you can, get it how you live. Now, again, I was not poor by far coming up, but was not the richest either. So I had to get a part-time job. And a lot of students have to get part-time jobs. And just because you hear the word part-time job, that doesn't mean, oh my gosh, especially if you're a female and you're out of state, that doesn't mean you have to get a job off campus, because that can be scary, right? So what you can do is look inside of your institution or your college and see what kind of opportunities they have on campus. A lot of times they have cafes and they have restaurants on the campus that you can work for. So make sure that you explore all of those options. There are opportunities within your college and university a lot of the times where you can work and help yourself buy the necessities that you need and fund your education without having to think about the fear of working off campus or whatever that case is. So make sure that you get you a part-time job so you can have some coins. Like, you know, in college, you want to have fun. You want to have the experience. And sometimes that requires you to step out and work and make yourself some extra money. So don't be above getting a part-time job. I'm telling you, it pays off and your experience is so much better. All right. Tip number 10. All right. Whatever you have at your college, whether it be Blackboard or email, make sure that you pay attention to your emails or Blackboards that your colleges send out. Why? Because a lot of times colleges send out leads. A lot of times colleges send out scholarships every week that can help you fund your education. At least my college did, and I'm sure a lot of colleges are the same way. When I tell you guys I got one of the biggest opportunities of my career just from a simple email that my college sent out to like all the students on the campus, like literally. And I took the time to write the essay for this particular scholarship. I took the time to fill out the application thoroughly on a weekend when I had a little bit of time. I just took that time out to do it. There was something about that particular scholarship that made me want to really be in depth with it. And again, it awarded me a really, really great opportunity, a really great internship paid internship that I was able to do as a college student in the summer of my junior year. So please, please, please make sure that you pay attention to those emails. Your college does send out useful information. It's not just rubbish. It's not just stuff that you throw in your trash on your email. Make sure that you read those things, read the fine print, apply for those scholarships, because a lot of times, a lot of students aren't applying for it, and there's less students than you even could think of that are applying for it. And so your odds are really, really high when it comes to a lot of those scholarships that are being sent out. So please make sure that you're taking advantage of those, because they will help you in the long run. All right, guys, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. And just because you stuck around, I want to give you guys a bonus tip. That's right. Tip number lim. What is that? That's 6. Tip number lim. Oh, can you guys believe I really went to college? Anyway, tip number 11, guys. So, tip number 11. Very simple. This applies to me, and maybe it'll apply to you. Now, when I went to college, I did receive a partial scholarship, but I had to find so much money, it was ridiculous. So, with that partial scholarship, I had to maintain the guidelines of my scholarship. And I want to put that as the bonus tip, okay? If you were able to receive a partial scholarship, guys, make sure that you follow the guidelines of your partial scholarship. Whether it's partial, full ride, whatever it is. Follow the guidelines, and I can assure you that you will never have to worry about the jeopardy of your scholarship if you do what is needed. And not just if you do but what is needed, but if you go above and beyond, there will be other opportunities that are awarded to you. When I tell you guys that I was able to get the partial scholarship, and I went above and beyond when it went to my tutoring, my involvement, and that opened so many extra doors for me to get more scholarships, more money for school. I was able to actually have extra scholarship money left over majority of the semesters of my matriculation in college. And when I tell you guys, that felt so good. That felt so good because I put in the hard work and dedication that it took for me to be successful. So guys, take the extra step sometimes. I'm not saying every time, because college is very tiring, but take that extra step to go above and beyond, and I can assure you that it will pay off in the long run. Okay, guys? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.